Are you leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table? That's not a rhetorical question. Every single day, veterans are denied the disability benefits they earned, not because they aren't hurt, but because they didn't know the secrets, the 25 insider tricks that separate the quick approvals from the years-long slogs through the appeals process. We're talking about saving time, eliminating stress, and securing the maximum cash compensation you deserve, often months or even years, faster than the average claim. If you think the VA system is designed to help you, you're only half right. It's designed to process claims, and knowing how to navigate that process is the real trick. Today, we're cutting through the complexity, skipping the lines, and giving you the blueprint for success. Get ready to take notes, because these 25 strategies are game changers, starting right now with the foundation of your claim, the absolute most critical piece of evidence you will ever submit. The first trick, the ultimate secret weapon in any successful claim, is the Nexus Letter Blueprint, making the connection undeniable. This is where most veterans trip up. They assume the VA will connect the dots between their current debilitating condition and their time in service. They think, well, I got hurt in the military, so it must be service-connected. But the VA doesn't work on assumptions. They work on evidence. The Nexus Letter is that bridge. It's a medical opinion provided by a qualified physician that explicitly states that your current disability is at least as likely as not due to your military service. This is the magic phrase. If your doctor uses weak language, saying the condition might be related or could possibly be caused by service, the VA will dismiss it instantly. The trick here is not just getting a letter. It's ensuring the doctor reviews your entire service treatment record, your private medical history, and then cites specific medical literature or rationales to support their conclusion. It must be a well-reasoned, evidence-based argument, not just a casual note. A truly effective Nexus letter will address any counter-arguments the VA might raise before they even raise them. For instance, if you have a back injury that worsened 10 years after separation, the doctor should explicitly state why the intervening events were not the primary cause, or why the service injury created a vulnerability that led to the current severity. This level of detail, this explicit use of the "at least as likely as not" phrase, turns a shaky claim into an undeniable one, saving you months of unnecessary review and potential denial. Don't skimp on this step. If you have to pay a private doctor for a comprehensive review, consider it an investment that will pay dividends immediately upon approval. Remember, the VA often relies on their own examiners, who are paid to be impartial, but their impartiality often leans toward denial if the evidence isn't overwhelming. Your Nexus letter needs to be the overwhelming evidence. It needs to be the anchor that holds your entire claim in place, making it impossible for a reviewer to reasonably deny the service connection. We're talking about meticulous detail here, reviewing those old records and pulling out the specific dates of injury or exposure. Did you deploy to a certain location? Was there a specific event? The Nexus must reference these facts directly, linking them scientifically to your current diagnosis. This isn't just about getting a doctor's signature, it's about getting a medical expert to write a legal argument on your behalf, using the language the VA is legally required to respect. Moving on to the second trick, we focus on maximizing the buddy statement, the unofficial witness power. Many veterans think only medical records matter, but the VA is required to consider lay evidence, testimony from people who witnessed the event or witnessed the effects of the injury. A buddy statement or a lay statement from a friend, family member, or fellow service member can fill critical gaps in your service treatment records, STRs. The core trick here is specificity. A weak buddy statement says, "John was hurt in Iraq." A powerful one says, "On October 14, 2005, while deployed to AFOB Delta, I personally saw Staff Sergeant Smith fall from the turret of a Humvee during an evasive maneuver. He immediately complained of severe pain in his left knee and required assistance. Walking back to the barracks, I witnessed his subsequent difficulty climbing stairs for the next 3 weeks. That level of detail is gold. Furthermore, don't just use buddies from the service. Use statements from your spouse or close family describing how your condition impacts your daily life. Now, if your PTSD makes you unable to handle crowds, your spouse should describe specific instances of avoidance, panic attacks, or difficulty maintaining employment due to these symptoms. The trick is to paint a vivid picture of the severity and frequency of the symptoms, not just the existence of the diagnosis. Ensure the person writing the statement includes their full name, contact information, and their relationship to you. This is crucial for credibility. The VA needs to believe this person is a reliable source, and vague, unsigned letters are easily dismissed. By providing multiple, highly detailed lay statements that corroborate the time of injury and the current impact, you build an impenetrable wall of evidence around your claim, forcing the VA to acknowledge the reality of your suffering, even if the military doctors minimized the original injury report back in the day. Think of the buddy statement as external verification of your truth. It's the human element the VA needs to see, especially when dealing with mental health claims, where objective evidence can be harder to quantify. Trick number 3 is a simple administrative maneuver that can save you thousands in back pay. The power of the intent to file, ITF. This is a critical time-saving mechanism. The moment you decide you are going to file a claim, even if you are years away from gathering all the medical evidence, submit an intent to file form, VA Form 210966. Why? Because the VA uses the date of the ITF as the effective date for your compensation, provided you submit the full claim within 1 year. If you wait 6 months to gather your nexus letter and private records, that's 6 months of back pay lost if you didn't file the ITF first. This trick costs you nothing but a few minutes of time and immediately locks in your potential compensation date. It's a literal ticking clock that works in your favor. If you file the ITF today and your claim is approved 12 months from now, you will receive 12 months of retroactive pay dating back to the ITF submission date. If you waited those 12 months to file the actual claim, you lose that entire year of compensation. This is one of the easiest ways to ensure you maximize your cash benefit. Don't delay the ITF. File it as soon as the thought of claiming a condition enters your mind. It's your insurance policy for the effective date. Many veterans overlook this simple form, believing they need to have all the paperwork ready. You don't. You just need to tell the VA you intend to file, and they hold your place in line for a full year. Use this administrative loophole to your advantage. It's designed to protect you, but only if you use it. Now for trick number 4, a strategy essential for veterans who have transitioned out. Leveraging private medical records, PMRs, strategically. Your service treatment records, STRs, are often incomplete, especially for conditions that developed or worsened after separation. The VA will naturally focus on what the military documented. The trick is to make your private medical history the star witness. When submitting your claim, you must include all relevant private records. But here's the nuance. Don't just dump a massive file. Organize it. Highlight the relevant dates and diagnoses that show a continuity of care or a worsening condition. If you were treated for anxiety in service and your private psychiatrist has been treating you weekly for severe PTSD symptoms for the last 5 years, those private records are far more indicative of your current level of disability than the single entry from 20 years ago. The crucial part of this trick is ensuring the private doctor diagnoses the condition using the VA's own diagnostic codes, DSM-5 for mental health, for example. If your private doctor uses vague terms, the VA rater might not know how to connect it to the rating schedule. By providing clear, detailed PMRs that utilize recognized medical terminology and show consistent treatment, you preempt the VA's argument that your condition is not chronic or not severe enough. This is particularly powerful for musculoskeletal issues. If the military documented minor knee pain, but your civilian orthopedic surgeon has recommended multiple surgeries and documented severe degenerative changes, the civilian records are the evidence that dictates the rating, not the old STRs. Make sure you sign the necessary release forms, VA Form 214142, quickly, and follow up to ensure the VA actually receives them, or better yet, obtain them yourself and submit them directly as part of a fully developed claim. Trick number 5, crucial for claims involving chronic or progressive diseases, is the chronological timeline strategy, visualizing continuity. When dealing with conditions like Gulf War illness, certain cancers, or degenerative joint issues, the VA needs to see a clear progression. Simply listing diagnoses is insufficient. The trick is to create a separate, concise document, a chronological timeline that acts as a table of contents for your entire medical history. Start with the date of the in-service event or exposure, list the first documented complaint, and then sequentially list every major medical visit, diagnosis, symptom onset, and treatment related to the condition, citing the page number in your submitted evidence packet where that record can be found. For example, 1998, exposure to Agent X in location Y, STRP 12. 2005, first documented complaint of chronic fatigue, PMR, Dr. Jones, P45. 2018, diagnosis of condition Z, VA records, P301. This timeline acts as a roadmap for the VA rater. They are often overloaded with hundreds of pages of documents. By giving them a 1- or 2-page guide that clearly shows the continuity and progression of your symptoms, you drastically reduce the cognitive load required to approve your claim. This minimizes the chances of the rater missing a critical piece of evidence and issuing an erroneous denial. This strategy is pure efficiency. You are making the rater's job easier, which inevitably speeds up your approval process and reduces the likelihood of an unnecessary appeal. A well-constructed timeline is a silent advocate for your claim. Now we transition into the actual filing process, starting with trick number 6. Using the fully developed claim, FDC, correctly, the fast pass. The FDC process is designed to speed up claim decisions, often resulting in quicker turnaround times compared to standard claims. However, many veterans use the FDC incorrectly and end up slowing themselves down. The trick is understanding the FDC's non-negotiable requirement. You must submit all evidence relevant to your claim at the time of filing. This means your nexus letter, your buddy statements, your private medical records, everything must be included on day 1. If you file an FDC and then submit additional evidence 6 weeks later, the VA converts it to a standard claim, and you lose the benefit of the faster processing track. The key strategy here is patience in preparation, but speed in submission. Take the time to gather everything perfectly, using tricks 1 to 5, and only then submit the FDC. If you are waiting on one last piece of evidence, hold the FDC until you have it, but remember your intent to file date, trick 3, is protecting your effective date. Do not rush the FDC submission with incomplete evidence just to get it in the mail. A complete FDC is the express lane, and incomplete FDC is a detour that puts you behind standard filers. This strategic completeness is what saves you massive amounts of time. Trick number 7 is highly technical but incredibly effective. Strategic use of the Disability Benefits Questionnaire, DBQ. DBQs are standardized forms used by VA examiners to record findings. The trick? You can often have your own private doctor complete the relevant DBQ before. You even submit the claim, While the VA is not obligated to accept a privately completed DBQ, if it is completed thoroughly by a qualified licensed physician and is accompanied by a strong nexus letter, Trick 1, it can often bypass the need for a VA compensation and pension C&P exam entirely, or at least significantly influence the VA examiner's eventual findings. This saves you stress by avoiding a potentially hostile or rushed VA exam. The key here is ensuring the private doctor meticulously fills out every section of the form, using the exact language required by the VA. If the DBQ asks about range of motion, the doctor must provide specific measurements in degrees, not just qualitative descriptions. If the DBQ asks about frequency of symptoms, they must provide specific numbers. A perfectly completed private DBQ is a massive shortcut to a high rating because it provides the rater with all the necessary data points required by the rating schedule, 38 CFR, packaged neatly and ready for a decision. It's essentially delivering the final answer key to the VA. Our 8th trick addresses the common mistake of only claiming primary conditions. Claiming secondary conditions. First, the domino effect. Many veterans focus solely on the injury that occurred in service, the bad knee, for example. The trick is to immediately look for the secondary conditions that have developed because of the primary one. The knee pain causes an altered gait, which leads to hip and back pain. The back pain leads to chronic pain medication use, which causes stomach issues. The chronic pain leads to anxiety or depression. Every single one of those secondary conditions is claimable and rateable, potentially pushing you past the 50% or 70% thresholds much faster. When filing, explicitly state that the new condition is secondary to the service-connected condition. For example, claiming chronic depressive disorder secondary to service-connected chronic pain syndrome, rated at 40%. This approach establishes a chain of causation that is often easier to prove than a direct service connection. The VA already accepts the primary condition. Now you just need a doctor to confirm the medical link between the primary and the secondary condition. This is a crucial strategy for maximizing your compensation because secondary conditions often have high rating potential. Don't just treat the symptoms, claim the consequences. Trick number 9 is a specific example of the secondary claim strategy, often referred to as SHAD, the sleep apnea. Connection loophole. Sleep apnea is a high-rating condition, but direct service connection is difficult to prove. The trick is linking it as secondary to a service-connected mental health condition or orthopedic injury. For example, many veterans with PTSD or depression take medications that cause weight gain, which can lead to or worsen sleep apnea. Alternatively, certain orthopedic conditions require specific sleeping positions that exacerbate respiratory issues. If you are already service-connected for PTSD, obtain a nexus letter, Trick 1, from a sleep specialist or pulmonologist stating that your sleep apnea is at least as likely as not secondary to your service-connected mental health condition, citing the weight gain, sedentary lifestyle, or medication side effects. This pathway is frequently successful and provides a much higher rating than trying to prove the sleep apnea started during service. This strategic link is vital for veterans struggling with this common yet difficult-to-rate condition. For trick number 10, we focus on the goal of financial stability. Filing for total disability individual unemployability, TDIU, early and explicitly. TDIU is a benefit that allows veterans to be paid at the 100% rate, even if their combined scheduler rating is below 100%, but usually 60% combined, or one condition at 40% and a combined rating of 70%. The trick is not just waiting until you are desperate, it's filing for TDIU concurrently with your other claims if your current conditions already prevent you from maintaining substantially gainful employment. Do not rely on the VA to automatically consider you for TDIU. You must check the box on the application or submit the specific TDIU forms, VA Form 21-8940 and 21-4192. Furthermore, when detailing your work history, the trick is to focus on why. You had to leave jobs or why you couldn't hold them. Focus on the symptoms. I had to quit because my anxiety attacks prevented me from interacting with customers. Or, my back pain meant I missed 30% of workdays, leading to termination. This connects your disabilities directly to your inability to work, which is the core requirement for TDIU. Filing early ensures that if you are eventually granted TDIU, the effective date aligns with your initial claim date, maximizing your back pay. Now we pivot to the most stressful part of the process, the compensation and pension C&P exams. Trick number 11 is absolutely vital here. The worst day rule for C&P exams. When you attend a C&P exam, the examiner is required to assess your current level of disability. Veterans often make the mistake of trying to tough it out or minimize their pain because they are nervous or feeling okay that specific morning. This is a critical error. The trick is to describe your symptoms as they manifest on your worst days, detailing the frequency and severity of those worst episodes. For conditions that fluctuate, like migraines, PTSD, or joint pain, the VA must rate based on the average impairment, including the most severe periods. If the examiner asks, "How is your back today?" you should reply, "Today is okay, but 3 days a week, the pain is so severe I can't get out of bed, and the pain is a 9 out of 10. That's when I need maximum medication and assistance." You are not lying. You are providing an accurate, representative picture of your overall disability level. If you minimize your symptoms, the examiner will document a low level of impairment, leading to a low rating or denial. Remember, you are providing testimony about your health. Make sure it reflects the reality of your suffering, not just the fleeting good moments. Trick number 12 is the practical application of the worst day rule. Preparing a symptom list, the cheat sheet. Before you walk into the C&P exam, prepare a concise, bulleted list of your symptoms for each claimed condition. This is your cheat sheet. The trick is to focus on the key rating criteria points. For mental health, this means listing, frequency of panic attacks, impact on social and occupational functioning, suicidal ideation, if applicable, and sleep disturbance. For musculoskeletal issues, list pain level, frequency of flare-ups, and functional limitations, e.g., cannot lift more than 10 all-barbs, need a cane after 10 minutes of walking. Take this list into the exam. If you forget something, which is common due to stress, refer to the list. You're ensuring that every piece of evidence necessary for a high rating is presented to the examiner. This prevents the examiner from claiming they didn't observe certain limitations or that you denied having certain symptoms. The list serves as a reliable memory aid and a documented record of what you intended to convey. Trick number 13 requires some homework. Knowing the rating criteria, 38 CFR, before the C&P. The VA rates disabilities according to the criteria outlined in the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, Part 4, 38 CFR. The trick is to look up the criteria for your claimed conditions, e.g., the criteria for a 50% versus 70% rating for PTSD. When talking to the C&P examiner, you should tailor your description of your symptoms to align perfectly with the language used in the higher rating criteria. For example, if a 70% rating for anxiety requires deficiencies in most areas, such as work, school, family relations, judgment, thinking, or mood, you should specifically detail how your condition affects most of those areas. You don't quote the CFR, but you frame your narrative using those concepts. This subtle alignment ensures the examiner documents findings that support the rating level you deserve. If the examiner notes that your symptoms meet the criteria for a 70% rating, the VA rater has very little room to downgrade you. This is proactive claiming. You're providing the exact ingredients necessary for the high rating. For trick number 14, we address a common pitfall in the C&P exam: the examiner's language trap. C&P examiners are trained to ask open-ended questions, but sometimes their phrasing can lead veterans to minimize their suffering unintentionally. The trick is to be hyper-aware of absolutes. If an examiner asks, "Can you still drive?" and you say yes, they will document that you have no driving limitations. A better, more accurate answer is, "Yes, I can drive short distances, but due to my anxiety pain, I cannot drive during rush hour or for more than 30 minutes without severe physical mental distress." If they ask, "Are you depressed?" and you say, "No, not today," they document no depression. A better answer is, "I manage severe depressive episodes several times a month, requiring intense isolation and medication adjustments." Avoid simple yes/no answers that don't capture the frequency, severity, or duration of your worst symptoms. Be verbose, be descriptive, and never let a simple yes or no negate the complexity of your disability. Trick number 15 addresses a rare but necessary maneuver: refusing a poorly scheduled or unqualified examiner. While you generally must attend a C&P exam, if you receive notification that the examiner is a general practitioner assessing a highly specialized condition, like a podiatrist assessing severe PTSD, or if the location or time is genuinely unmanageable due to your disability, e.g., severe agoraphobia preventing travel to a crowded city center, you have the right to request a reschedule or a different type of examiner. The trick is to document the reason immediately and formally. Do not just fail to show up. Call the scheduling company and the VA and state clearly, "Due to the severity of my service-connected agoraphobia, attending this centralized, high-traffic location is medically prohibitive. I request a telehealth option or an examiner closer to my home." If the examiner listed is clearly unqualified for the condition, request a specialist. While the VA may push back, a formal documented request based on medical necessity creates a paper trail that can be used later to challenge a denial based on an inadequate C&P exam. This is about protecting the integrity of the examination process. Moving into the post-decision phase, trick number 16 is the administrative shortcut for quick error correction: the Higher Level Review, HLR, Fast Track. If you receive a denial or a low rating and you believe the VA made a mistake based only on the evidence they already had, the HLR is your best friend. The trick is understanding that the HLR reviewer cannot consider new evidence. They are simply checking for errors in the application of law or regulation based on the original file. If you have new evidence, you must use a supplemental claim, trick 19. Use the HLR when you see a clear mistake, such as, "The rater ignored my nexus letter," or "The C&P examiner failed to measure range of motion as required by 38 CFR. When filing the HLR, you must explicitly state the error you believe occurred. The most powerful tool within the HLR is the informal conference. Request this conference. This allows you or your representative to speak directly to the reviewer and point out the specific error in the record. This direct communication dramatically speeds up the resolution of clear errors, often resulting in a reversal within a few months, saving you the years required for a board appeal. Trick number 17 is for those rare but significant errors. Identifying clear and unmistakable error, KU. A Q is a specific high-bar legal concept. It means the VA made an error that, if corrected, would have changed the outcome of a prior final decision, and that error must be based on the facts and law at the time of the decision. The trick is that CU claims can potentially open up decisions that are years or decades old, leading to massive amounts of back pay. CUE is not simply disagreeing with the decision, it's proving that the VA misinterpreted a law, failed to follow a regulation, or overlooked critical evidence that was in their possession at the time. For example, if the VA rated you for a condition but failed to apply the appropriate presumptive status, like Agent Orange exposure, that existed at the time of the decision, that could be a Q. This requires expert knowledge, usually from an accredited representative, but recognizing that a Q might exist is the first step toward securing potentially life-changing retroactive benefits. Trick number 18 is purely about maximizing cash. The effective date strategy. As mentioned with the intent to file, Trick 3, the effective date determines how much back pay you receive. The trick is understanding the exceptions that can push the effective date back even further. If you file a claim for a condition that was previously denied, but you are now submitting new and relevant evidence, Trick 19, you can often link the new claim back to the original claim date if you can prove continuous pursuit of the benefit. Furthermore, if you file a claim within 1 year of separation, the effective date defaults to the day following separation, regardless of when you filed within that year. Always check if a previous denial can be overturned using new evidence that relates back to the original claim date. Maximizing the effective date is the single biggest factor in securing a large lump sum payment. Don't settle for the date you filed your current claim. Always investigate if an earlier date is legally viable. Trick number 19 involves navigating the appeal system post-2019. Leveraging the new and relevant evidence standard. If your claim is denied and you decide to file a supplemental claim, you must submit new and relevant evidence. The trick is understanding exactly what new and relevant means. New means the VA didn't have it before. Relevant means it tends to prove or disprove an issue in the claim. A new doctor's appointment confirming your diagnosis is new. A new nexus letter, Trick 1, that specifically addresses the reasons for the previous denial is new and relevant. Simply submitting the same evidence again is a waste of time. The key strategy is to obtain evidence that directly counters the VA's previous reason for denial. If they denied you because of a lack of a nexus, you provide the nexus. If they denied you because the C&P examiner noted a lack of severity, you provide a new DBQ, Trick 7, from a private doctor detailing the severity. This targeted approach dramatically increases the chance of success on a supplemental claim, moving you forward without needing a complex board appeal. Trick number 20 is crucial for those with multiple conditions. Understanding the VA math, pyramiding. The VA does not simply add your percentages together. e.g., 50% plus 30% does not equal 80%. The trick is understanding the combined rating table and the concept of pyramiding. Pyramiding is the rule that the VA cannot rate the same functional impairment or symptom multiple times under different diagnoses. For example, if you are rated for back pain that causes limited movement, you cannot also get a separate rating for limited movement caused by the same back pain under a different diagnosis. The trick is ensuring your claims are distinct and address different functional limitations. If you have PTSD, mental impairment, and a knee injury, physical impairment, these are distinct and combined using the VA math. If you have two mental health diagnoses, ensure the medical evidence clearly shows they manifest as distinct symptoms, though often the VA will combine them into one rating based on the predominant symptoms. Understanding the combined rating table allows you to strategically target conditions that, when combined, push you over the critical thresholds, 50%, 70%, 90%, for increased benefits, including health care and special compensation. Now we move into maximizing long-term benefits and financial tricks. Trick number 21 is often overlooked. Special Monthly Compensation, SMC, Hidden Pathways. SMC is additional compensation paid to veterans who have specific severe disabilities, such as loss of use of an extremity, blindness, or the need for daily aid. Most veterans only think of SMC when they've lost a limb. The trick is knowing the hidden pathways, particularly SMCS, statutory 100%, and SMCK. SMCS is available if you have a 100% rating and JERS, you are housebound, meaning your disabilities substantially confine you to your home or immediate premises. You do not need the highest level of care. You just need to be substantially housebound. SMCK is a small additional payment for loss of use of a creative organ, like loss of fertility or erectile dysfunction, which can be claimed even if you are already 100%. Always investigate SMC eligibility, even for seemingly minor losses of function, as these addendum payments can significantly increase your monthly cash flow, often without requiring a new C&P exam. Trick number 22 involves protecting your rating once you have it. The 5-year and 10-year protection rules. These rules are essential for long-term financial security. The trick is knowing when the VA can and cannot reduce your rating. If your rating has been in effect for 5 years or more, the VA generally cannot reduce it unless the evidence shows sustained improvement that is considered permanent. If your rating has been in effect for 10 years or more, the VA cannot terminate the service connection entirely except in cases of fraud. Furthermore, if your rating has been in effect for 20 years or more, it is considered protected and generally cannot be reduced below the current level unless the VA proves fraud. If you are approaching the 5-year mark, the trick is to ensure you have consistent medical documentation showing the chronicity of your condition. If the VA schedules you for a re-examination after 5 years, they must prove a sustained improvement to reduce the rating, not just a temporary good day. Know these milestones and use them to challenge any proposed reduction. For trick number 23, we look at a major financial benefit, using the VA home loan exemption. If you are rated at 10% or higher, you're eligible for the VA home loan guarantee. The trick, however, is that if you are rated at 100% P&T, permanent and total, you are exempt from the VA funding fee, which can be thousands of dollars. This is a massive cash saver. Furthermore, in many states, 100% P&T veterans are eligible for significant property tax exemptions, sometimes eliminating property taxes entirely. The trick is ensuring your VA decision letter explicitly states permanent and total, and then proactively applying for these state and local exemptions. Don't wait for the state to inform you. You must present your VA documentation to the local tax assessor's office. This saves you thousands of dollars in property taxes and loan fees every year, dramatically increasing your disposable income and financial security. Trick number 24, closely related to SMC, is claiming aid and attendance, ANA. ANA is an additional monetary benefit paid to veterans who need the regular aid of another person to perform daily functions, like bathing, dressing, or medication management, or who are largely confined to their home due to disability. The trick is understanding that ANA is not just for the elderly or those in nursing homes. If your spouse or a family member provides significant daily assistance due to your service-connected conditions, you may qualify. This requires detailed medical evidence and a statement from the caregiver outlining the specific assistance provided and the frequency. This benefit can provide substantial monthly income, alleviating the financial burden of necessary home care. If you are already rated, 100%, and need constant supervision due to a mental health condition like severe dementia or TBI, this is a high-value claim to pursue. Finally, trick number 25 is about future-proofing your benefits. Proactively managing future reexaminations. If your initial rating is not P&T, the VA may schedule reexaminations to see if your condition has improved. The trick is preparation and consistency. If you receive a notice for a reexamination, treat it with the same seriousness as your initial CNP. Use the worst day rule, trick 11, and the symptom list, trick 12. Furthermore, ensure your medical records between the rating decision and the reexamination are consistent. If you stop seeking treatment for a condition, the VA will interpret that as improvement. By maintaining consistent treatment, documenting the chronicity of your symptoms, and preparing thoroughly for the re-exam, you significantly reduce the risk of a rating reduction. If your condition is stable and unlikely to improve, like amputation or severe PTSD, you should request a P&T status review to eliminate the need for future reexaminations entirely, securing your rating for life. These 25 tricks are not shortcuts to undeserved benefits. They are the strategic maneuvers required to navigate a complex, bureaucratic system designed for processing, not necessarily for compassion. We've covered everything from the foundational evidence, the indispensable nexus letter, and the powerful buddy statement, to crucial administrative tactics like the intent to file and the FDC. We mastered the CNP exam by adopting the worst day rule and preparing our symptom cheat sheet, ensuring the examiner captures the true severity of your disability. We then discussed the fast tracks for appeals, leveraging the higher-level review for quick corrections and strategically using new evidence to overturn denials. Finally, we looked at maximizing the cash benefit through TDIU, special monthly compensation, and securing lifelong protection through the 5-year and 10-year rules, plus the massive financial savings of the home loan exemption. If there is one overarching takeaway, it is this: preparation is not just important, it is the entire battle. The VA system rewards those who are meticulous, organized, and who speak the specific language of the rating criteria. Don't let your earned benefits be denied or delayed because of a paperwork mistake or a poorly worded CNP answer. Use these 25 strategies to build an undeniable claim, secure the compensation you deserve, and finally gain the peace of mind that comes with knowing your service is fully recognized. Start today by filing that intent to file, locking in your effective date, and beginning the meticulous process of gathering your evidence. Your financial freedom and peace of mind are worth the effort. Do not wait another day.